If you're a leader in manufacturing, healthcare, or professional services, the way you think about and use AI is about to fundamentally change. You see, the EU has just rolled out the AI Act, the world's first major legal framework for artificial intelligence. And understanding it, well, it's not just a good idea anymore. It's absolutely essential for doing business. So let's break down what this really means for you and your organization. You know, this quote really gets to the heart of the matter. For years, AI governance has been all about these ethical principles and voluntary guidelines, things that were nice to have, but let's be honest, they often lacked real teeth. Well, that time is officially over. The EU AI Act moves us from these aspirational ideas to hard, enforceable rules. It's no longer about what we should do, it's all about what we can prove we have done. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the new AI landscape, then figure out how to understand your risk level. After that, we'll dive deep into the Mandatory Quality Management System, or QMS. Then we'll look at your compliance blueprint, show you how to build out your complete strategy, and finish up with your immediate next steps. Okay, so let's jump right in. To really get a handle on these new rules, we first need to understand the new landscape that the EU AI Act has created. So what exactly is the EU AI Act? At its core, you can think of it as product safety law for the digital age. It's the first of its kind, and it creates one single set of rules for the entire EU market. The big goal here is to make sure that AI systems are safe, that they're trustworthy, and that they respect people's fundamental rights, all while still encouraging innovation. And here is the crucial point, especially for anyone watching from outside of Europe. Remember GDPR and how it became the global gold standard for data privacy? Well, the EU AI Act is expected to do the exact same thing for AI. So this isn't just about the EU market, it's about the future of AI regulation everywhere. So how does this act actually work in practice? The entire framework is built on one simple central idea, a risk-based approach. And the good news is, not all AI is treated equally. Your legal obligations are going to depend entirely on how risky your AI system is considered to be. The Act basically creates 4 risk categories, or buckets. Some AI, like government-led social scoring, is flat out unacceptable and is banned. Other things, like chatbots, have transparency risks, meaning they just need to tell you you're talking to an AI. And most applications, like your spam filter, are minimal risk. But the category we really need to focus on today, the one with the biggest legal requirements, is high risk. So what exactly is a high-risk AI system? The Act defines it as any AI that could have a serious negative impact on a person's health, their safety, or their fundamental rights. This is where the regulation gets really specific and, frankly, very demanding. And these are not abstract, far-off concepts. I mean, look at these examples. We're talking about very real applications that are being used today. In healthcare, it could be the AI guiding a robotic surgery. In HR, it's that software that sifts through resumes and decides who even gets an interview. In finance, it's the algorithm that approves or denies your loan. And in manufacturing, it's the AI that controls safety components in critical infrastructure. If your business operates in any of these areas, you really need to be paying close attention. Okay, so this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important requirement for any organization that is developing or using a high-risk AI system. This is your absolute core compliance obligation. And here it is, the what. Article 17 of the EU AI Act could not be clearer. If you provide a high-risk AI system, you must have a quality management system, or a QMS. It's not a suggestion, it's not a nice-to-have. It is the law. But what do we mean by quality in this context? It's not about customer satisfaction or the finish of your product. Here, quality means one thing and one thing only: provable compliance with the law. A QMS is your formal, documented system that shows regulators exactly how you make sure your AI meets every single requirement of the Act, from the design phase and data governance all the way to monitoring it once it's out in the market. Okay, so if Article 17 is the what, I'm sure you're asking, well, what's the how? How do we actually build one of these QMS things that will satisfy the regulators? And that brings us to the solution. The how is a brand new European standard called PREN 18286. You can think of this as the official instruction manual. It was created for one very specific purpose: to give companies like yours a clear framework for building a QMS that meets the demands of Article 17. And using this standard brings us to its biggest benefit, something called the presumption of conformity. Now, because this is an official EU-recognized standard, if you build your QMS according to its rules, regulators will automatically presume you comply with the law. This is a huge deal. It takes all the guesswork out of the equation and gives you a clear, defensible path to compliance. To make this crystal clear, let's use an analogy. Imagine the EU AI Act is the law that says you have to build a safe, roadworthy car. Well, PREN 18-2086, this new standard, is your factory's quality control manual. It defines all the processes for design, testing, and documentation. But that manual relies on other, more specific technical standards for things like the performance of the brakes, the steering, and the airbags. It's the central hub that makes sure everything else works together. That car factory analogy actually leads us perfectly into our next section. Because while the QMS is your foundation, a complete compliance strategy means you have to integrate all those other key components. So let's see how this all fits together. On the left, you can see what PREN 18286 covers. It gives you that high-level structure for your QMS, things like your regulatory strategy and your documentation processes. But on the right, you can see that this framework relies on other, more specific technical standards. The QMS provides the structure, but these other standards provide the nitty-gritty rules. Put it this way, your QMS tells you that you need a risk management process. A different standard tells you precisely how to do it. And this table right here, this is your master plan. It shows you exactly how the essential requirements of the AI Act, you can see the articles listed on the left, map directly to specific technical standards on the right. Your QMS, which you build using PREN 1886, is the framework that makes sure all of these other standards for risk, data, transparency, and security are all properly implemented, documented, and managed. This is how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together to give you complete end-to-end compliance. Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now, let's get practical and focus on turning all of this knowledge into concrete action. What are your immediate next steps? Let's just do a real quick recap of the key takeaways. Number 1, the EU AI Act is the new reality. It's here. Number 2, if you have a high-risk AI system, a quality management system isn't optional, it's mandatory. 3, that new PRN 18286 standard is your official blueprint for building that QMS. And finally, number 4, full compliance means plugging those specific technical standards into your QMS framework. The journey to compliance really starts now, moving from just understanding these principles to actually putting them into practice. The key is to start today. Assess your systems, understand your risk profile, and begin planning your QMS. If you'd like to discuss your specific situation and start building a compliance roadmap, please reach out to us. The email address is right there on the screen, info@amlpartners.com. We're here to help. Thanks so much for watching.